Well, good morning, everybody. This is less of a presentation and just a few remarks. So I think I will be brief. First, let me recognize my colleagues who are here from NSF. Often we meet each other in person, sometimes for the first time at community events, and you know them virtually for a while. That just happened with one of my colleagues, Laura Stolp. If she can raise her hand or stand up, from GEO, the cybersecurity CI lead for the Arctic Research Fleet. And is Michael Korn here? Mike is in the back. Mike is a cybersecurity advisor under the Chief Officer for Research Facilities in the Office of the Director. And he's on the agenda later. And I think we have virtually Allison Rockwell from the Research Infrastructure Office joining us remotely. Okay, well, I looked this up last night in seeing how many openings that Rob Beverly gave to this crew, and I counted at least the last 4, which sounds correct, since I think Rob joined us just before COVID hit. And the reason I'm up here is because Rob has moved on to bigger and better things. He is now the director of the Cybersecurity Center of Excellence. That's something that he's founded now, and professor of computer science at San Diego State University. We wish him well, and on a personal note, I will miss him. This was the second time I had a chance to work with Rob over a set of years, and I had that opportunity in a kind of a previous life, and it was great having him with us for the years we had him at NSF. And I'm sure he won't be going far. It's just on the other side of the fence, right? The news is, as of yesterday, Dan Massey has joined my Office of Advanced Cyber Infrastructure as our cybersecurity lead program director. He'd be here, but you can imagine how government onboarding goes. That will take him most of the week. Just let me read a little bit of an excerpt from his bio that got shared internally at NSF yesterday. He comes to us previously serving as a rotator at the U.S. Office of the Undersecretary of Defense as Director of Advanced Concept Development and Prototypes. His research is in cybersecurity and networking. Recent work is focused on program management for 5G military systems. Dr. Massey's past research has included IETF standards work, including being the editor of Domain Name System Security Extensions, so DNSSEC. He goes back to those days. And he was also one of the principals in named data networking, which I think is still around, really cool alternative to TCP/IP architecture. So we're excited to have Dan with us, and I think you'll see a lot of him in the community moving forward. Let's see, finally, if you are on the Trusted CI mailing list, I bet almost all of you are. You saw some really cool news from Sean and his team on another 5 years of support for Trusted CI. I'll let Sean give you all the wonderful details about that a little bit later. But we're excited at NSF and in the Office of Advanced Cyber Infrastructure to be able to support Trusted CI moving forward. And then finally, this agenda, it looks fantastic to me. I think there are a couple of sessions that might have tracks and training and birds of feathers that are 5 wide. That's a really dense agenda, and I think it speaks to all the great efforts that the program committee certainly obviously put into organizing this event over the next 3 days. I hope you enjoy it. And with that, I'll hand it off to Jim Marsteller. Thank you.
Okay, well, welcome everyone to Pittsburgh. My name's Jim Marsteller. I think my official title right now is Cybersecurity Community Engagement Lead. But I started at the Pittsburgh Supercomputing Center in 2002 as managing the Gigapop, their 3 Rocks network. and then quickly moved into the Chief Information Security Officer role back in the Terragrid days after an incident with a 16-year-old Swedish kid named Staccato, which kind of started this whole thing. And actually, the very first summit was, I believe, organized by the DOE. And then years after that, or the next year after that, it was EDUCAUSE until Trusted CI. There was a year of like 3 or 4 years, there was no summit. And then in 2012, Trusted CI rebooted the summits, and we've been having them ever since. So welcome to Pittsburgh for the first time ever. Let me tell you a little bit about Pittsburgh Supercomputing Center. So these two guys here replied to a RFP or a proposal request solicitation back in 84, 85. Ralph Roskis, who had an appointment at the University of Pittsburgh, and Michael Levine at Carnegie Mellon, who was in the physics department, decided, hey, let's put this pitch in for HPC. And at the time, there was a third person, Jim Kasdorf, who worked at Westinghouse Electric Company, which is where our machine room is out in Monroeville, PA. So Westinghouse donated the machine room, and it's been that way ever since. It's where our machine room is. Mike and Ralph won it, and that was the start of the center. Since then, unlike other departments at Carnegie Mellon, we don't get money from tuition. It's all soft money. So it's our research funding that really keeps us going. So it's one of these, we have to really work to make sure that we can pay the bills. PSC has about 75 full-time employees. We are all CMU employees except for our director, who has appointments at the University of Pittsburgh and Carnegie Mellon, so he's got dual hats he wears. But for the most part, we are all Carnegie Mellon employees. We have a mix of backgrounds. We have computer engineers, project managers, community outreach people, educators, mathematicians. So it's a pretty diverse mix of people. The other thing that's really neat too is a lot of our employees have been there forever. We just had our award ceremony, and I think we actually had someone who has been there 40 years. And a lot of our employees start as students. So we hire them as summer students. They come on board and they don't leave, which we're really happy. It's a great place to work. And it's, at least for me, it's, going to sleep every night knowing that you've helped a researcher advance his science or, protect the integrity of that science, to me is so much more valuable than getting stock options and for a Google or something. So those are the types of students and people we really need to reach out to and show them all of the wonderful things that our community has to offer. Let's see what else. So our mission, of course, is to enable the advancement of science and research and to really cultivate collaborative relationships with researchers. So one of the things that I think the center really does well is work with researchers to help them, optimize, parallelize their code. If there's a certain thing that area that they're looking to research or resources, we can coordinate with our colleagues across the country. So our customer service is really, I think, in my opinion, one of the better things that we do. Okay, how much time do I have? Let's see. So let me talk about some of our machines. The smartphones we all carry right now are faster than our first $10 million machine back in the 80s. It's kind of crazy. Today we have 3 machines. There's Bridges 2. There's also Anton 2, which is a machine that's specialized by, I'm trying to think of who funded it. PSCers here? D.E. Shaw, yes, thank you. D.E. Shaw, so he was a stockbroker, made a lot of money, wanted to give back to the community, developed this processor especially for science research, and it's a closed resource, so they have a period where you can apply, and PSC is the only institution in the country, I believe, that has this type of computer, other than D.E. Shaw, which has one for private use. There's also another machine that we have as well. All different types of applications, everything from neutrino detection, COVID-19 modeling, weather modeling, all different types of applications. PSE is also involved in a lot of projects as well. Access might be one that you're familiar with. It's the follow-on to the Exceed project, which was the follow-on to TerraGrid. And it's the National Science Foundation has funded this. Develops a cyber infrastructure network of resource providers, HPC resources, storage facilities, that researchers are able to utilize as a single type of service. PSE also has the brain image library. There's a couple slides about it later. It's really neat. It's terabytes of brain image data that you can analyze and view from your phone, something that just years ago would have been very, very difficult to do. The Human Biomolecular Atlas Program, HubMap is what we all call it. And then, of course, Trusted CI, we're very proud of too. So in addition to that, I mentioned PSE also operates a regional network. It's called Three Rivers Optical Exchange. So they provide high-speed networking connections to universities and colleges in the area. Internet 2, ESNet, commodity internet, various peering agreements with other providers to allow for very fast, low latency transmission. And when you have these large HPC centers and storage centers, you really need to have the fastest connection you have. And PSC's got a group that is really great when it comes to advanced networking. Very happy to have them on our team as well. I think we all know a little bit about Trusted CI, or I'll let Sean talk about that later just to give us some time here. We also are involved in AI and big data. There is the National Artificial Intelligence Research Resource Pilot, which we are members or collaborators with. Our machine is called NeoCortex. That's the one that we operate that is used for AI. Some of the other research groups that I mentioned too, yes, the PSC's been known for their frontline support with researchers. So we really give a lot of time working with researchers to help them get their code running on our systems, optimize it, and so forth. One of the groups that does a lot of our work is our advanced systems and operations. So these are the people that keep the machines running, and this is a constant challenge with new software builds, hardware changes. You do a new compile, it can break things. So it's a 24/7, 365 operation. On call, we've got a great team to keep things running. We also have a very strong education and training program at PSC. We have a Bridges 2 webinar, monthly webinar, and to date we've trained over 22,000 students, which I think is really impressive. We also founded ADAP PA, which works with partner colleges and universities to develop curriculum related to HPC computing and resources. And we also have been working with the Knowledge College of Science staff to develop a master's in data analytics and science. So working with our institution here as well for degrees. Other departments, executive management, project management, allocations, finance and administration, and outreach and engagement are some of the departments that we have. Let me just skip through here. Okay, yeah, so I just wanted to note, so I have been involved with this summit for 17 years, going back to 2007. And we've seen this change dramatically over that period of time. And I just wanted to highlight some of them. Initially, this was a place where we got together. We had a plenary session for half a day, then we had breakout sessions just to talk about things. Then we added training programs, and people really loved this. This is, hey, yeah, a lot of projects don't have budgets for training. They can't send their people to places, so the training program became very, very successful. Initially, we were like 2.5 days. So we had 2.5 days starting with Berkeley last year, and this year we're now up to almost 4 full days. And there's going to be a survey that is going to come out later this week. And it's really important for us to get your feedback. Do you think 4 days is enough? Do you want to do a full week of 5, or is 3.5 the sweet spot? Please let us know. So it's really, as Kevin pointed out, the program this year is so dense. Wednesday, we have 5 parallel tracks. We wanted to have tours, but we just don't have any time in the program to carve out a few hours. There's just so many good talks that everyone submitted. So I know it's one of these catch-22 things. We've tried to expand the length of the summit so that you wouldn't have conflicts or have to choose. And then the program gets bigger and you still have to choose. So yeah, we're still trying to do the best we can. So please give us your feedback. Also, too, when we first started the summit, this was a program committee that would say, here's what I think we should talk about. Let's pick this speaker, that speaker. We stopped that probably about 6 years ago. So now the program committee, we actually poll the community. What are the topics this year that you really need to know more about? So the community selects the topics, you rank them, and that's what drives our call for participation. So in that call for participation, we say, the talks that address these top topics as outlined or determined by the community are going to be favored. And so not only do you provide the content, you select it. So it's a lot, this conference has a lot more of the community involvement than it did initially. Some of the other things that we've done too recently is we shifted from hotels to university and labs. So we used to have the summit in a Hilton or a Marriott, but we found that people really like to be at a lab where they could have a tour or a university. We are finding though universities are kind of difficult because a lot of the space that they have is reserved for students and they don't release it until maybe 6 weeks before. So when you're trying to plan an event a year in advance, it makes it a lot more difficult to try to find something on a university. So if you work at a lab or a major facility and you'd like to host us, please let us know. That would be great. We also started a student program about 5 years ago where students can apply to come to the summit. They write an essay and we select, I forget how many we started with, I think maybe 5. This year we're up to 18. Last year we had 52 applications, I want to say, and this year we had over 200 applications. And I'll note that last year we were in Berkeley, California, and this year we're in Pittsburgh, and they're certainly not applying because they want to come to Pittsburgh. Not that there's anything wrong with Pittsburgh. I love Pittsburgh. I'm from Pittsburgh. So our student program has been really accelerating, and we've got plans for the next 5 years to take that even to the next level, to build ongoing relationships with students that extend past just the summit. TLP Red Talks. So we started these last year at Berkeley. We had, I think, 1 or 2 that had registered and a few people shared theirs. This year, we've got 1 or 2 that have registered. I'm hoping that other people will share. I will just note that today, the TLP Red Talks are in a very small room. There's only chairs, so it's going to be first come, first serve. I think we have room for about 30 or 35 and about 45 people signed up. So it's going to be fun. If you don't have a seat, check around, you might be able to get another session. But if there are ways that, that you can suggest that we can get more participation in the TLP Red Talks, that's really useful information when people are able to share their experiences on an event that was very difficult for them. So that's at 1 o'clock. Poster session, we started that last year. We're going to continue this year. We're going to have, along with the poster session, ice cream. That was a big thing last year. Everyone loved the ice cream. So we will have ice cream at the poster session. And also new this year, we're having a summit jam session. So if you are a musician, I believe tonight at the Hop Farm in Lawrenceville from 7:30 to 10:30, you can come. Some of your fellow attendees here will be performing on stage. They're going to have instruments if you want to play. So that's also something pretty new. So just to wrap things up, as I said, I've been involved with this for 17 years. I'm originally from Pittsburgh, and it's wonderful for me to welcome you to Pittsburgh for the very first time. Thanks, everyone.